Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar. My name is Hannah Parrott. I'm the Marketing Event Specialist here at TAPCO, and I will be your moderator today. Today, we are presenting on a technical overview of popular TAPCO solutions. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat located on the right-hand side of the screen. I may interject with questions throughout the presentation, but the majority of questions will be saved for the Q&A at the end. Throughout the presentation, we will offer a few poll questions. These will pop up on the right-hand side of the screen. We will also be sending out a recording of this presentation along with relevant material within the next few days, so you don't need to worry about taking notes. If you would like to receive a PDH certificate, please send me an email after the presentation. My contact information is on the screen now, and I will also include this information at the end. Today, we will be discussing pedestrian crosswalk systems and enhancements, speed awareness, preventative maintenance, and we've saved some time for a Q&A at the end. A little bit on TAPCO before we dive in. I'm sure most of you are familiar with TAPCO, but for those who don't know about us, we've been in business since 1956. We're a third-generation family-owned company based out of Brown Deer, Wisconsin, and we pride ourselves on our four core strengths of quality, innovation, service, and expertise. Our speakers today are Jim Lampe and Natalie Zafke. Our first speaker is Natalie. Natalie has been with TAPCO for 5 years. Through her time at TAPCO, she has become an expert on all TAPCO made and distributed products. Natalie loves building relationships, going to trade shows, meeting her customers in the field, and seeing projects take flight. Our second speaker today is Jim. Jim is the regional sales manager at Control Technologies. With nearly 3 decades of experience working in ITS and traffic signal operations, he loves working with customers to improve and enhance safety. Jim represents TAPCO in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, without further ado, I'll turn the time over to Natalie.
I've had the pleasure to work with Jim Lampe for the last 5 years, basically my whole TAPCO career, and I couldn't ask for a better partner for TAPCO. He brings tons of industry expertise on both our intelligent warning systems as well as signals and the ITS world. In addition to Jim and myself, we have a team of people ready to help you, including Daniel Sagan with Control Technologies and Lindsay Miller and Aaron Gilbo with TAPCO. Jim and I will be going over our offering as well as the hands-on service we can provide. Thank you again for joining us today. We'll start today by talking about pedestrian crosswalk systems. As we increase vehicles on the roadways and as pedestrian, scooter, and bike users also increase, we continue to find challenges in protecting these vulnerable road users. From 2006 to 2017, although traffic fatalities decreased by 14%, pedestrian fatalities increased by 27%. There are multiple factors in pedestrian vehicle incidents, but 95% are due to human error. Some of the most common errors are attributed to impaired driving, nighttime crossings, and distracted drivers. Our solutions aim to catch the driver's attention and keep pedestrians safe. To achieve this, we have many solutions. For the warning device piece of this, we offer traditional beacons in whatever configuration you prefer, blinker signs, which are LED edge-lit signs, or RFBs, otherwise known as rectangular rapid flashing beacons. I found that Virginia and Maryland tend to favor the RFBs as the go-to solution, while DC offers a tiered approach, starting with single-sided blinker signs, then going to double-sided RFBs when the crossing is higher speeds or needs the extra attention. Each state really differs in their preferred warning method. As I mentioned, RFBs tend to be the favored device, partially because of the attention-grabbing flash pattern. These have been proven to show yield rates by as much as 90%, are used nationwide, and meet the MUTCD interim approval IA21. They're required to be double-sided to create a gating effect for any two-way road. They are also required to be pedestrian activated, whether that be by a push button or passively. Our TAPCO RFB is dimmable so that it's bright enough to draw drivers' attention during the day, but not blinding them at night. It has an articulating bracket that allows you to perfectly aim the LEDs toward traffic. It's also easy to install in that we have put pedestrian indicator lights on both sides, along with pop-up covers that, pop-off covers that there's no worry about having it installed upside down and having the indicator pointing the wrong way. TAPCO's blinker signs are MUTCD compliant. They're also dimmable for best effect for day-night conditions. This solution does not require it to be double-sided, so depending on solar size needed, it can be a lower cost solution. In studies, the blinker signs have proven to slow drivers down by 53%. With TAPCO's blinker signs, we do have a high visibility with the diamond grade sheeting and also anti-graffiti overlay. They can be seen from a mile away and are wired in parallel, so they do not have the Christmas tree light effect. They're also easy to service, so if one light goes out, it will not short the rest of the LEDs in the sign, and you can replace just one LED. TAPCO also offers a ruggedized version that's great for heavy truck routes and is an option for any blinker sign, although most popular with chevrons. Next, we come to flashing beacons. While these are most popular with school zone solutions and warning devices such as intersection ahead signs, etc., we do still see quite a few of these paired with pedestrian crossings. They're MUTCD compliant and available in many configurations. With the blinker beacons, we do offer many different configurations, as I mentioned. They do come in single, you can get a single version, dual vertical, dual horizontal, or double-sided of any of these options. We also offer them in an 8-inch or 12-inch size. And then also black and yellow housing. Our LEDs have a life expectancy of 100,000 hours and are the highest quality. Next, we'll go on to our activation types. For our activation types, after you've decided on the warning device, we have many activation types to choose from. I'll go over some of our most popular. They include the Bulldog push button, the INX or IDX push buttons, the Guardian push button bollards, wireless walk-through bollards, and FLIR passive detection. The Bulldog push button is the most budget-friendly and has a light and chirping noise. This one is most commonly used with push button bollards as it has a low power draw. The newest version of the MUTCD is pointing people towards using an APS button. We offer a few different APS buttons to choose from. One is the INX button by Polera. This button is replacing the XAV button as it's very similar except has some additional features. When this button is pushed, it has an audible message of yellow lights are flashing, although on the Polera app, multiple commonly used messages are preloaded for your convenience. The button is able to be programmed via Bluetooth. There's also another option, which is the IDX button, which is very similar, but you're able to either wave or press the button for touchless activation. Jim will now tell us a little bit more about the Guardian push button and then go into FLIR thermal passive detection.
So we're a partner with Campbell Company here in the Mid-Atlantic. So we have a lot of customers that use the Campbell APS. So we like to use Campbell's APS where we can on RFB systems and other crosswalks. So what you see there is a picture of the Campbell APS Guardian, and it comes as a standard 5x7. So the upper right-hand corner, you can see that little plastic man logo sign. You can put the sign right on the APS, or in the upper left-hand corner that has a 9x12 sign plate, or you can have a 9x15 sign plate. And there's also telescopic brackets that are available. So that comes in 3 different telescopic sizes, and that helps you get the push button away from the pole to help meet ADA requirements. Campbell recently released a touchless APS called the Wave, which is in the lower left-hand corner there. And that can obviously help you meet ADA requirements, but more importantly, people that have concerns with COVID-19 and possibly touching push buttons. And in the lower right-hand corner, you see a device called the APS Beacon, and we're using that at crosswalks where we have passive detection and no push button. And so once the pedestrian activates the system, they'll hear the words "yellow lights are flashing" or whatever the agency chooses to enunciate over that speaker. So another popular way to activate these systems is with passive detection. So a lot of agencies end up putting in these crosswalk treatments and then find out a month or 2 later that people are not pressing the push button. So it doesn't do a whole lot of good. So it's a good idea to bite the bullet early on and decide maybe to add in passive detection, just to know that there's a greater likelihood that your treatment is going to be activated and you're going to get the intended response from the motorist. So passive detection is a great way to do that. We've been working with FLIR since 1997 around here, when there used to be a company called Trafficon. FLIR bought Trafficon and their video detection system and added thermal capability, and that just makes it perfect for a pedestrian or cyclist detection application. So the Trafi One is the product, and that's an image from the Trafi One on the right side of the screen. It's actually in Fairfax, that image, Fairfax, Virginia. So the system uses heat signatures, and it detects cyclists and pedestrians moving in towards the crosswalk. So it's not susceptible to shadows or tree shadows or glare, road glare, or any of that sort of thing that could be problematic with other optical style cameras. The system is Wi-Fi configurable, and there's different ways to activate the system. Let me talk about that on the next slide. So this is what the detection zones look like on the Trafi One, and it's a web browser-based system. So you can bring it up on your tablet or your phone even, or your laptop, and you could use your thumb or your mouse and grab these big orange circles to resize the zone. And usually we'll either use one of 2 different ways. We can use a presence zone on the curbside, and that would be almost like a push button replacement, or to complement a push button even, where that would activate the beacons for X number of seconds based on the METCD. The other way to do it is to put a bidirectional zone in the crosswalk, and that way, as long as somebody's in the crosswalk, it keeps the treatment active. So there's no preset time duration. And you can even do things like put an extender delay on the system for whatever reason. Back to you, Natalie.
To talk about is our walk-through bollards. These use dual infrared beams. Once the beam is broken, it radios over to the warning device to flash. These are able to be either hardwired or battery operated. They're really great for bike trails, as you can offset them a little ways back to flash the crossing ahead of time before the biker actually reaches it. Next, we'll talk about our different power options. TAPCO offers quite possibly the widest range of power options on the market. We offer 2 self-contained units, either the 13 watt or 20 watt, which both have options for either 1 or 2 batteries to increase autonomy. Then we also offer a 26 watt system or a 30 watt system. Everything 30 watt and under are usually able to mount onto as small as a 2-inch square post, which helps to keep the costs down. We also have our 55 watt system, which is our most popular option. This option commonly allows you to have close to a 30-day autonomy, depending on shading and amount of activations. Next, we have our 85 watt solar, which is commonly used in shaded areas or to power our passive detection, which is a little more power hungry. We also offer traditional AC power and a streetlight power option, which is actually powered off a battery, then has the streetlight power trickle charge the battery at night. Williamsburg, Virginia uses this commonly around the university. So how do you know what solar size to use? There are many options that give you all different autonomy. One TAPCO advantage is that any municipality or DOT can give us their desired autonomy requirements, and we can build the system to meet those. In DC, for instance, they want all RFBs to be able to run for 30 days minimum without sun. We're able to easily meet that requirement using an oversized solar panel. Jim, if you want to go ahead and add some of your insights in there.
Sure.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sure. You can hear me this time. Okay, good. Okay, so one of the issues that that can come up is that you put a solar-powered system out there, and it could be with any product, and you find out that you don't have enough a big enough solar panel or large enough batteries to accommodate the devices that you're trying to power out there. So it's critical that that you do some sort of a solar survey if there's any question on the amount of sunlight that's available. And so on the right-hand side, that's actually an image I took up in Rockville, Maryland, where they wanted to put a crosswalk in at this location. There was a tree right next to the crosswalk. And so we were just concerned about where that tree was and how that might impact the future solar panel. So we can take this device that you see in the left side of the screen, and then you also see it on the ground on the right side, that little tripod. And we can take it to the actual location of the proposed solar panel, put that down on the ground, and on the plastic dome inside of that is kind of a map of the sky. And you can get a 360-degree view of the horizon. And what we do is we hold our cell phone over that, take a picture, send it to TAPCO, and they actually generate a report based on how the sun crosses the sky and what it looks like in July versus January, February, where it's lower to the horizon. And they'll take into account the devices and the power draw that we're proposing and come up with a pretty accurate report and give you some peace of mind that the solar panel and batteries that we put out there will keep the device powered throughout the year. So definitely recommend a solar survey if there's ever any question. Back to you, Natalie.
A little over a year ago, TAPCO came out with our SafeWalk crosswalk illuminator, which is a perfect solution for those poorly lit crosswalks. The SafeWalk is designed to illuminate pedestrians while in the crosswalk and is pedestrian activated in conjunction with the warning device it's paired with. The SafeWalk illuminator is unobtrusive, has a two light section to maximize its effectiveness, and it's adjustable. The illuminator exceeds the FHWA's recommendation of 20 lux. It's designed to illuminate one lane of traffic for each device. So it's optimal to have two SafeWalks for a 2-lane road, one on each pole. The SafeWalk has a photo cell, so it's only activated when the warning device is activated and it's dark outside. One thing to be mindful of is if the device is in a highly shaded area, it may be tricked into thinking it's dark and come on during the day. This device can be added to new or existing systems. You would just want to be mindful that there is enough power if it's solar. It pairs most commonly with the 55-watt system. This is a video I won't play for you today, but you're free to watch it when we send the PowerPoint out to you tomorrow. Another great enhancement that TAPCO has come out with is our CVI, or Connected Vehicle Interface. As we continue to build toward connected and eventually autonomous vehicle technology, TAPCO continues to strive to stay on the edge of that technology. The CVI upgrades new and existing TAPCO warning systems to integrate with connected vehicle-ready infrastructure. It communicates with smart city RSUs to relay system activation data. We've built the system to be compatible with either DSRC or 5G networks, although it now seems that the MUTCD is pointing more towards 5G. Excuse me. The roadside unit has direct short-range communication to connected vehicles in the area. It also has GPS time and location. When a connected vehicle is traveling through the CVI and a TAPCO system is activated, it sends a message such as pedestrian ahead to connected vehicles close by to give that driver added warning. The next enhancement that we'd like to talk about is our BlinkLink software. BlinkLink is a user-friendly, cloud-based event management software. It allows you to remotely access your TAPCO system from any web-connected device. Jim has a ton of experience with BlinkLink, so I'll pass this to you to talk about a little bit further.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no problem. We can hear you, Jim.
You got a problem before. All right, great. So the image you're looking at on the right side, that's actually a real image from the city of Alexandria in Virginia. And it shows the map interface on the BlinkLink software. So BlinkLink's a cloud-based system that when a cellular modem is added into the TAPCO cabinet, it can actually allow you to remotely access devices. And so what you see here are 44 school zones in and around the city of Alexandria. And the list below is each of the individual schools, and it would give you some real-time status on the signal strength, the power, the temperature, if there's any active alerts. And the icon on the map can even change colors based on if attention is required for that specific location. The agency can log in through the internet into BlinkLink, and they can actually, at the beginning of the year, they can program their school zone clocks for the on time and the off time in the afternoon. You can see the color yellow there that might indicate a special event that in this case, this example, it would be early dismissal every Wednesday, lucky students in that school district. And it's hard to, the green was a 2-hour delay. So you can have snow days or closures and 2-hour delays ready to go. And then if you wake up that morning and the school board has said, it's a 2-hour delay, somebody from the agency can just log in and quickly program all the school's clocks to be on a 2-hour delay, so that when the students are out there 2 hours later, they get the benefit of the beacons warning motorists to slow down during school hours. Another thing that's available is activation reports. And this is an example from Montgomery County up in Maryland. And that's at the Montgomery Mall in Montgomery County. Montgomery County likes to look at the usage, so they can log in anytime they want and see how many times the crosswalk was activated. And that's good information to see, what time of the day is your pedestrian traffic the heaviest. And that's good information that can be used for planners as well. There's other types of data that can be looked at. You can see the history of the battery voltage, the history of the temperature of the unit, when it may have lost contact. And another slide, I think we've dropped out here, but the other application could be alerts. So you can have technicians that are assigned to certain crosswalks or certain school zones. And if there is an alert like low battery, indicating you've got a problem with the battery or the solar power, before the unit actually dies, it will send you an email basically saying, come check me out, I've got a problem. So that could be an email alert or a text message, or both, to whatever technician you want that might be assigned to that location. Another way to activate the system is with this retrofit time clock called Direct Time. And that's what you see on the right-hand side of the screen, that blue box. That's actually the exact same size as a legacy RTC or LTAC time clock that you may remember might have buttons like an old phone on the front of the time clock, where you would have to go out and manually enter in the school zone calendar. So you could take that time clock out and put in this TAPCO retrofit clock, put an antenna on the cabinet, and you've instantly transformed your school zone system into an internet-ready school zone system. So that's possible. You can also choose not to have the BlinkLink system and simply have the time clock in the cabinet at the school zone and log in with your laptop through the software, and that's the image you see on the laptop. So the school zone calendar software allows you to program it. You know, the only thing is you can't change on the fly very easily if there's a snow day or 2-hour delay. So back to you, Natalie.
Solutions to meet your needs. Probably the most popular would be the dual vertical beacons, although we also see requests for dual horizontal beacons or school zone signs with embedded 8-inch beacons set in the sign. We also offer school zone blinker signs as well as combos of either school speed limit blinker signs paired with radar feedback signs, or blinker beacons paired with school speed limit signs and radar feedbacks. These options provide the ultimate in awareness. We also offer a wide variety of radar feedback sign options on their own. You have the option of getting them with white, yellow, fluorescent yellow, green, or work zone orange colored faces. We offer either the Evolution or Safe Pace series. The Evolution line comes with 1 year of free cloud for data management of your signs. The cloud does have a yearly fee, but you're able to cancel at any time and still be able to use the Bluetooth function to collect data. These signs come in a wide variety of power options. AC is great for those areas that already have power and plan to have the sign be permanent. I see the battery powered option most commonly used by police departments wanting to move the sign around. The batteries are rechargeable, and depending on how much is activated, could have about a 2-week life before needing to be recharged. Then we also carry the solar option. All of these signs come with a violator strobe alert, which can be programmed to go off at certain speeds. We have options for standard or full matrix models if you want to do some custom messages such as slow down or too fast. There's one of those strategically placed on my way to work that catches me daydreaming every once in a while. It is a real attention grabber. Jim, do you want to add anything else to this and then talk about some of our unique configurations?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So it's funny with these driver feedback signs. One thing you can definitely do is to limit the speed that's posted on the sign, because apparently some people will try to go through the sign and get a high score. So you can turn it off at 65 or 70 or whatever the high speed might be, so people don't try to do that. Another interesting thing that agencies do is the system can collect data. So they'll keep the sign powered on and collecting data, but they'll turn the display off and they'll run it for a couple weeks, and then they'll run it for a couple weeks with the display on. And it is pretty incredible, the response from drivers when they're actually seeing their speed displayed back to them. People do have a tendency to slow down and adhere to what's posted, the posted speed limit. So yeah, we'll talk about some unique configurations in this area, mainly with the RFBs. So on the screen are a couple pictures from VDOT locations here in the VDOT Northern Region in Fairfax County. The one on the right's actually in my neighborhood, so I get to see that just about every day. But VDOT uses the Campbell Guardian, and again, they've got the 5x7 sign on the APS, and then they like to put that 9x12 R1025 sign above it on the pole. On the left side is an example in Reston, where I may have done the solar survey, or we may have driven there and just said, you know what, there's no way solar is going to work here because it's just so far into the woods. So in that case, we ran AC power to one of the poles and conduit to the other 2 poles. So you're spending money with conduit, but you're saving with cabinet and things like that, because you're only using one power source and then running it to the other 2 poles. And I should say the examples that you see here, the one on the right and the one on the left, the idea with the RFBs is to create a gating effect for the driver. So you should see the beacons on both the right and left side of the roadway. So on a bidirectional roadway with no median, on the right side, you'd see one on either side of the street, bidirectional. And if there is a median and you have a third pole, then each edge of the roadway might have just one RFB that faces traffic. and then the median pole would be bidirectional. So that would still create that gating effect for the driver. And actually, both of these happen to be in school zone areas, so we can use that S1-1 school zone sign as well. Here's a couple of examples where an agency chose to use different types of signage. And so on the left is Montgomery County, Maryland, and they actually use that particular sign, and they have their own Maryland SHA, State Highway Administration spec pole, steel galvanized pole that they use. So that's fine. If you have a specific pole that's used in your agency, we can accommodate that. On the left side, DC, Washington, DC has a number of other signs that they'll sometimes put on the pole as well, indicating the fine and that sort of thing. This is in Rockville, and this shows the RFB attached to a decorative pole. So that's possible as well, a fluted decorative pole. And that's an AC powered system where we're getting the power from the street light. The important thing to remember if you're getting power from a street light is to make sure that the pole is energized all day long. So in this case, I believe it was, and there's a photo cell that turns the light on and off, because if the pole is de-energized during the day, then it could de-energize the crosswalk system. So if that is the case, Natalie showed that earlier picture where the batteries could be charging during the day and then run at night. But just keep that in mind if you're going to charge off a light pole. This is in Howard County, Maryland, where we have a shady side of the road and a sunny side of the road. And so what we did in this case is Howard County ran conduit from the sunny side over to the shady side. And because we're using the TAPCO thermal passive activation here, there's a little bit more power, draw. So we used an 85 watt, I believe in this case, a dual 85 watt solar panel. You see it on the right side, and the cabinet's a little bit larger to accommodate the battery array that's in that cabinet. And then this is a system on Prosperity Road in Fairfax County, Virginia, where they decided to use AC power because, again, it's in the woods. And this is on the Capitol Crescent Trail, I think it's called, pretty heavily used. And in this case, there's no push button to activate the system. They're using the TAPCO passive detector to activate the system on the curbside. So the system will activate for 20 seconds or whatever the duration was set to. The other thing about this crosswalk is that the APS beacon is used, the speaker, so that it enunciates yellow lights are flashing, wait for gap, to the pedestrian or cyclist when they approach the curbside. And I want to mention also the zones can be made directionally sensitive. So on the right-hand side of the screen on that thermal image, there's an arrow pointing towards the crosswalk. So people or cyclists exiting the crosswalk will not reactivate the system unless you want them to for some reason. So that's all programmable. Back to you, Natalie.
A question come through if you wanted to answer. Jeremy Grusd had said, what type of signing do you recommend to notify pedestrians of passive activation?
That's a great question. So it's interesting. Traffic engineers handle that differently. I've heard of traffic engineers who don't want to tell the pedestrian what's happening because they believe that will still force the pedestrian to use caution and look around and wonder, what's happening. I think we have another application. It's down in Christiansburg, Virginia. I don't have a picture of that handy, but I believe they do have a sign at that location that says something to the effect of pause, wait to be detected, or something like that. So there are different options. Other parts of the country, I think people have drawn a box on the pavement, a rectangle or a square. So there's different ways you can alert people, and it really is up to the agency.
Maintenance contracts. This last year, TAPCO has started offering preventative maintenance contracts to try to take our service to the next level. These reduce liability, supplement your staff with industry experts, give you asset management, and extend the warranty of your system. Depending on the types of systems you have, as well as the amount, TAPCO will come out once to twice a year to diagnose your systems, check out parts, replace any warranted items, and send you a report of the work done and system health. TAPCO is a vendor under the Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing Contract. Omnia is the nation's largest and most experienced cooperative purchasing organization for public sector procurement. They work with over 90,000 cities, municipalities, and state agencies. I find that a lot of time municipalities don't even know that they're signed up to use this contract, as they may only use it with one vendor that's under the contract. There's a huge umbrella of people, including Home Depot, Cintas, Club Car. We're happy to look you up to see if you are a member and get you connected with an Omnia Partners program manager to answer those in-depth procurement questions regarding the contract and help you through this process. TAPCO's Omnia contract was just awarded in March of 2020 for a 5-year term with 5 one-year extensions. The lead agency this was bid under is Barron County, Wisconsin. The contract was publicly competitively bid and won, so allows you to forego getting 3 quotes or going out to formal bid. TAPCO offers competitive pricing under this contract along with free freight. Control Tech, being an exclusive dealer for TAPCO, is authorized to be able to piggyback off the contract to extend these benefits to you. And we're happy to direct you and your procurement office to TAPCO's landing page on the Omnia site, where it lists them as being an authorized dealer. To sum up some of the TAPCO advantages that we've talked about today, we're experts in the industry, providing high quality products and have a strong service department should any issues arise. We offer many power options and are able to solar size according to your needs. We offer many crosswalk enhancements, from thermal passive detection to safe walk crosswalk illumination, to our connected vehicle interface, to BlinkLink, remote management software, and so much more. We take a consultative approach and are very hands-on to meet your needs. We understand the procurement process and provide the Omnia contract for easy purchasing. And at the end of the process, we offer preventative maintenance contracts to ease and extend the life of your systems. Lastly, we're paired with this fabulous partner, Jim Lampe and Control Technologies, and Daniel Sagan, of course, who is committed to providing hands-on support and exceptional customer service. With that, Jim, if you'd like to add some last remarks, and then we can go to questions.
Sounds good. I'm going to skip ahead a couple of slides here and then we can come back. So yeah, just a little bit more on Control Technologies. And I really do appreciate everybody taking time out of their schedule to attend the webinar today. We're a national company headquartered in Florida with offices all over the country. And our local office is here in Dulles, just north of the airport. We've got warehousing capabilities, so we stock wire and certain other devices here. We have a technician out of Harrisonburg who's an IMSA level 3 cabinet signal technician. Other sales staff here, as well as a professional engineer, traffic engineer on staff as well. So we take pride in our partnership with TAPCO. We're all TAPCO trained. We provide training classes on TAPCO devices. We offer to be on site with an agency. We don't actually sink poles in the ground or run wire, but we can help a contractor or an agency with connections in the cabinet and programming the devices. It's funny, a lot of times we'll offer our support and then it's not really needed because a contractor or an agency finds it's so easy to program and wire up the TAPCO products because the manuals are written so well and everything's identified really well in the cabinet. So, but we're certainly there to help with that, and any training and sometimes troubleshooting is required, unfortunately, but we're here to help you with that as well. So we usually get things resolved pretty quick if things come up. So we also represent traffic signal systems, battery backup, CCTV systems, different types of vehicle detection. So we'd love to work with you with TAPCO and with other other applications. Let me jump back a couple of slides, Natalie. All right.
Natalie, it's now time for our Q&A. Everyone, please ask your questions in the chat box if you want to join our discussion. And I see we already have a few questions. We have a question from John asking, I know that all locations are different, but in general, how often should the solar panels be cleaned?
That's a great question. You know that answer, Natalie? I don't know that too often. I mean, if there's an issue or something to go out there as part of preventative maintenance, but I'm not sure. I've got locations out here that have been installed for years, and I'm not sure if the agency, there may even be somebody else on an agency that's on the call that might have a better answer than I, unless you have a better answer now.
Yeah, so we would recommend cleaning after, if you have a really heavy snow, it's always a good idea to clean it after that. Otherwise, we would recommend cleaning them bi-yearly, so twice a year.
And another question picking off of that, what sort of maintenance should be considered for the long-term use of an RRF solar or AC-powered crosswalk signal?
Yeah, so the general maintenance, like for our preventative maintenance, will come out once to twice a year, depending on, what we work out with the agency when we're doing that. And what we would recommend to people is to be checking the cabinets for bug or rodent infestation, and kind of cleaning that out. I would say like twice a year, wiping down the solar panel, checking wires, checking the system health. And actually too, I do believe we have a recommended maintenance guide. So if whoever asked that question, I'm sure that I can look that up and give you that document. Or we can send it out after with the recap of the webinar.
And another question, for pedestrian crosswalks, can you go with solar if you want to have a thermal or any nighttime visual enhancements like safe walk? Is that an option?
Absolutely. With the Safe Walk crosswalk illuminator, you can usually get away with a 55-watt panel. Sometimes you can go smaller depending on how many activations that you're expecting, if it's a really low amount of activations, but otherwise, usually a 55-watt panel is just fine. And then for the thermal passive detection, we do usually recommend, or it usually does require, an 85-watt solar panel. Now, if there's other, if it's super highly activated or if it's slightly shaded, we can oversize the panel. We've done panels big enough to be, I think, 130 watt. I've even seen quad 85 in some instances for some other systems. So really, there's all different possibilities for that.
Yeah, I'll mention there's a job we did in Maryland where there was, again, a sunny side and a shady side. This is over in St. Mary's County. And in that location, they used round blinker beacons. And there were 4 beacons on each pole. And there was thermal detection. We used the speaker, the APS beacon. And they wanted to have the capability, just because it was their first time using passive detection. And some agencies just want to make sure it's going to work. So they ran the wire for possible future push buttons, but they didn't, the passive detection worked fine. They didn't need that. But taking all that into consideration, we ended up using a ground mounted cabinet with 6 batteries, I think, and a pretty large solar array. So yeah, you can power just about anything you want. You just have to have enough solar panels and batteries to do it.
We have one more question from Russell. Is there an IES file available for the SafeWalk crosswalk illumination model in model AGI32?
So I'm not sure of that. I'd probably have to take that offline to our engineering department and get that answered and get back to you after the webinar on that. Unless you have the answer, Jim.
I don't.
Sorry about that, Russell.
All right, and we have one more question in from Subin. Is there a way to receive data from the RRFB locations on how frequently they get activated? And from a maintenance standpoint, is there a way to receive data on solar battery health and when it needs to be replaced?
Absolutely. Jim, I know if you want to talk about some local examples of people who do use our BlinkLink software for that.
Sure, yeah. Hey, Subin. So yeah, Montgomery County is using it for those reasons. They can log in and see the activation, the usage reports, and that's valuable to them to see again what the busiest time of the day is, or what days of the week might be more heavily used, and then also they can receive those alerts. So there's an alert when the battery gets below a certain level, and that can indicate that you've got a problem. It could indicate a number of things, but it can indicate a problem with the solar panel, maybe a problem with the battery. Maybe it's been cloudy for more than a month, and so it'll give you that alert that it's getting low, and I believe it gives you one more alert before it powers off. There's a point in which the system will power off. So yeah, there's all those types of alerts are available. Now that's through the BlinkLink. That's through the BlinkLink software that you'll get those alerts through a text or an email.
And you can also pull data counts from the crosswalks to be able to see how many times the button is being pushed or it's being passively activated using that software.
Jim, it looks like we answered all of your questions. We really want to thank everyone for attending our webinar today. As a reminder, we will be sending out all relevant links and a recording to the webinar within the next day or two. If you would like to receive a PDH certificate, please send me an email. You can see my contact information on the screen now. Thank you again, everyone. We hope to talk to you soon, and have a great rest of your day and week.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.